So I grew up in like a milieu of the golden age of Judaism. A moment of, perhaps not total acceptance. Maybe total acceptance would be too far a dream, but that it was going to like stay in this like very safe space. And there was like this dream of like peace, and especially in the 90s, especially in like the early 90s, there was a sense and a hope that the contradictions of Zionism would solve themselves, that the Oslo Accords would finally bring an end to it, which of course perhaps to some listeners might sound delusional considering what the Oslo Accords were and what they comprised and the sacrifices they required the Palestinians to give up. But this was the opinion that okay, finally it's going to happen. It's going to.
It was like embedded within the end of history in a way.
Very much so. Very much so. I mean, it's part of it, frankly. That this never-ending tension, this never-ending fight will end. That milieu was one in which Exodus was seen as like an origin story, essentially. It's something that parents show their children, and that was part of the environment I grew up, which had a lot of Israel pride related into it. And I went to Jewish day schools growing up, and in Jewish day schools, I would have IDF days. I would have, Haganah days. You'd go to summer camp and you get woken up in the middle of the night by counselors. Like, all right, this is an IDF, like, village raid. Like, come on.
What?
And like, just like to get the kids.
Well, I think what drove me insane about since October 7th, other than just the downright, like, bloodlust of it all, is like how all the liberal Zionists in my life, like in my family, I mean, I've been able to, thankfully, I'm still on good terms with my immediate family, but the wider extended family, there's some tensions there now. But like how they just like, these were the people, it was the liberal Zionists that have always said, we believe in peace. We don't want, like, they would be the first of the Zionists to talk about the Nakba.
Yes.
Like they would actually talk about it and be like, yes, this is horrible. We have to, we have to, we had the Holocaust, they had the Nakba, and now we need to come together. And that was the whole thing. And that's just totally gone out the window now. I feel like liberal Zionism is dead. And I don't just mean that like an intellectual sense. I mean that like the way that I am now experiencing my own Jewish like life world, like just doesn't exist. You either have leftist Jews, anti-Zionist Jews, and then you have every other Jew who is either actively supporting all the bloodshed or is just like pretending, like just not talking about it and pretending like at some level that this is just more of the same. Like this is just, this is another war. Like, cause how like Israel always has like, they have wars with the Palestinians, particularly in Gaza Strip. They have wars.
Mowing the lawn.
They're like, this is a particularly bad one. Yeah. Mowing the lawn. This is just like a particularly bad mowing of the lawn, which of course is just such a otherworldly reading of what's happened in the last year plus. But it's driven me insane because it's like, it's just a real like break with reality. I feel like people I love and care about who just are just so totally, utterly disconnected from the project that they have supported all these years and that to some degree they continue to support.